All right, so this is the video for 1.6. Doing number 9, just remember absolute value. So if I have the absolute value of x is equal to a, that means that x is either equal to negative a or x is equal to a. So you have to solve it both ways. So then this becomes 2x is equal to negative 6 or 2x is equal to 6. So that means that x is equal to negative 3 or x is equal to 3. Sorry, not 6. And so the solution set for this one is negative 3, 3. Number 11 is the same thing, so it's going to be, when I drop the absolute value symbol, so it's going to be 2x plus 3 is equal to negative 5, or 2x plus 3 is equal to 5. So here's 2x is equal to negative 8, x is equal to negative 4. I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides, so I get 2, and x is equal to 1. So my solution set is negative 4, 1. When you have these, just drop the left-hand side, and then we're going to go ahead and do it again. So for number 15 here. So we get that negative 2x is equal to negative 8, or negative 2x is equal to 8, right? Those are the two ways that you're going to solve it. So here, x is equal to 4, or x is equal to negative 4. And that's our solution set for that one. For number 21, again, negative or positive, right? So x over 3 plus 2/5 is equal to negative 2. Or x over 3 plus 2/5 is equal to 2. So here I'm going to subtract the 2/5 from both sides. I'm going to go ahead and do it this way. So then this is going to be negative 10 over 5 minus 2 over 5. So it's going to be negative 12 over 5. If I multiply both sides by 3, for this particular one, what I'm going to get here is going to be negative 36 over 5. And then here, when I subtract the 2/5, is going to be 10 over 5 minus 2 over 5, which is going to be 8 over 5. And if I multiply both sides by 3, I get 24 over 5. So my solution set is negative 36 over 5 and 34 over 5. For number 23, has no solution because the absolute value of an expression cannot be negative. And so for the next one is number 29. So here I have x squared minus 2x is equal to negative 3, or x squared minus 2x is equal to 3. So here we have x squared minus 2x plus 3 is equal to 0, and x squared minus 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. So in this case here, we can factor this. So this becomes, actually this one becomes x minus 3, x plus 1 is equal to 0. So x is equal to 3, or x is equal to negative 1. For the right side here, we're going to have to use a quadratic formula. So x is equal to 2 plus or minus the square root of negative 8 over 2. I just skipped some steps. So 2 minus, so actually this is not a real, not real number. So then the solution set would be negative 1, 3 for that particular question. So the next thing that we have is number 31. So we're going to do it exactly the same. So x squared plus x minus 1 is equal to negative 1. Or x squared plus x minus 1 is equal to 1. So if I add 1 to both sides in this one, I get that x squared plus x is equal to 0. I factor out an x. So here I get x is equal to 0, or x is equal to negative 1. For this one, I end up with x squared plus x minus 2 is equal to 0. And so this factors out to x minus 1. x plus 2 is equal to 0, which means x is equal to 1, x is equal to negative 2. So the solution set would be negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1. For number 35, we're going to solve it the same way. And then after that, I think we get into inequalities. So in this case here, we have x squared plus 3x is equal to negative x squared minus 2x. And then x squared plus 3x is equal to x squared minus 2x. So if I subtract x squared from both sides, here again, if I add, I get 5x equal to 0, which means x is equal to 0 for this one. For this one here, I do the distributive property with a negative. So it's negative x squared plus 2x. If I move everything to one side, I get 2x squared plus x is equal to 0. And so I factor out an x, so I get 2x plus 1 is equal to 0, which means x is equal to 0. Or in this case, x is equal to negative 1/2. So the solution set would be negative 1/2, 0. So for number 37, this is where we start the inequalities, absolute value inequalities. And so just real quick here, let me see if I can move my stuff. There you go. So if x is less than a, the way that you solve it would be this way. If the absolute value of x is greater than a, then x is less than negative a, or x is greater than a. Those are the two ways that you're going to solve inequalities, absolute value inequalities. So for this one here, we're going to have negative 8 is less than 2x is less than 8, which means that negative 4 is less than x less than 4. If we're going to write it in interval notation, this is the way it's going to be. We're going to graph it, same thing that we did previously. And that's how you do number 37. For number 39, then becomes 3x is less than negative 12, or 3x is greater than 12, which means that x is greater than 4, or x is less than or equal, negative 4. So I'm going to put the negative 4 here. I'm going to put the 4 here. So it's going to be parentheses that way, parentheses that way. And so the way that you would write it in interval notation will be negative infinity, negative 4, union 4 to infinity. All right, looking at number 43, it's the same thing. So negative 4 is less than or equal to 3t minus 2, less than or equal to 4. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides, or all three sides. So it's going to be, right, 6. If I divide both sides by 3, I get that. If I'm going to write it in interval notation, I get 3 over 2, 2. And if I were to graph it, 3 over 2, 2, then I would just use the brackets. And that's how you do number 43. For number 45, so, right, those are the two ways. So if I add 3 to both sides, I get 1. So x is less than or equal to 1/2. Here I get my 5, and then I divide both sides by 2, I get that. So interval notation, negative infinity 1/2, oops, bracket, sorry. Union 5 over 2 infinity. So when you graph it, you get your 1/2, 5 over 2, bracket that way, and bracket that way. All right, number 55. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 1. And then, of course, it becomes negative 3 is less than or equal to 2x minus 1, less than or equal to 3. I'm going to add 1 to both sides and divide both sides by 2. So interval notation. And, of course, I'm going to go ahead and graph it. That's how you do number 55. All right. Last one for this section. It's number 61. And so for this one, what you're going to have to do is it's going to be the following. So negative 1 is less than 2x plus 3 minus 1/2 less than 1. So I'm going to add 1/2 to both sides. So then this just becomes negative 2 over 2 plus 1/2, right? So this is 3 over 2. Let me write it this way here. And then this is just going to be negative 1/2. If I multiply everything by 3, I get 3 over 2. And then this is going to be 9 over 2. And if I multiply everything by 2, I get the following, all right? We can do that so we can get rid of what we had. If I subtract 6, I get negative. And that's going to be 3. And if I divide both sides by 4, I get that one for 61. So interval notation, and of course if I were to graph it, right? And this will just be parentheses. And that's how you do section 1.6, and that's the end of that one. Thank you.